Hi y'all, it's Charlene, and we're here today at What the Tuckers. And today we're going to be in the kitchen cooking, and what we're going to be doing is taking some of this ground beef and we are going to be making meatloaf today. So let's get started, and let me get you closer so you can see. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our approximately 2 pounds of ground beef. We're going to take it and put it in our bowl. Get it where you can see. Okay, so we're just going to open up our ground beef and we're going to get it started. Now, I like to take my ground beef and go ahead and get it going for a couple of loaves so that I have some made up. Now, my husband and I only eat a little bit at a time, so we don't need a great big pan of it. But I'm making it in a big pan, and I'm going to divide it into little pans for you. And the next thing you're going to need is some of this Knorr's beef bouillon. And I'm just going to take a tablespoon out of my kitchen drawer, and I'm going to go 1 and a piece of 1. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I have a mixed up spices. I usually have this in these jars mixed up already, but this is just a jar of minced onions and mixed vegetables, and you want to make sure that this doesn't go in there, and garlic powder and several other seasonings. Now I'm going to be making these up in new jars, and I will be adding the beef in it. I'm just out of the beef ones right now, so this is what I'm having to do. So I'm going to set that aside. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some old-fashioned oats. Okay, and I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some ketchup. And you're going to add quite a bit of ketchup here. If you get too much, it's okay, we'll fix it. Okay, if you don't get enough, we'll add more. And I'm about out of ketchup in this bottle, so we'll call that good. And then we're going to take a little bit of mustard, yellow mustard. Now you can use spicy mustard in this if you want to. And we're going to put a dab of it right there in the center. And then we're going to take some Worcestershire sauce. Now you don't have to measure this stuff. I'm not measuring anything. My lid wasn't on. I'm just kind of dumping it. And then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take 2 eggs. And you want to be careful, don't get your eggshells in there. There's 1. And 2. For this. And so I've got, my hands are clean. Now I've got a Band-Aid on this hand, so I'm not going to stick this one in there. I'm going to use it to hold the bowl. And I am just going to take this stuff and start mixing it up really well until I get everything incorporated. And you want a bigger bowl than what you have that you're mixing up, because you need to make sure that it's you have room to mix it. Now, if you don't have enough ketchup and it looks like it's being too dry, mine's kind of looking like it's a little on the dry side right now, I'll break out another bottle of ketchup. I can even break out another egg and put it in there. But you want to make sure that it's all mixed up really good before you start adding anything else to it. Now, the more egg you put in it, the more fluffier and the lighter your meatloaf's going to be. And the more, if it's too wet, you can add oatmeal to it. or crackers. You can use crackers in place of the oatmeal. Now I'm going to link the recipe in the description box below so that you can have it. Now mine's a little bit on the drier side than what I want it to be. So I'm going to add some more ingredients to mine. So hang on just a minute. So I'm going to add one more egg. Now, because you can add one more egg to it. Now I'm going to also add some Sweet Baby Ray's. Now I always top my meatloaf with Sweet Baby Ray's, but if you run out of ketchup, you can use this. And we're just going to put about that much in there, and that should get us to where we need to be. Now, why is this recipe not exact, and why don't you measure it? Well, because the ground beef may vary in how they made it when they added the fat to it at the store, or it may be that your eggs are smaller and you need more eggs, or it may be because there's just a variety of reasons. That's why I don't measure what I'm putting in here, because it always changes and it never stays the same. So you just want to make sure that you're working this all in here. Now see, that's coming together nice, and what you're looking for is for it you to be able to scoop your hand up and it comes together, not break apart like that, like it was. If it breaks apart, it's too dry. So now we're ready to go into our pans. Let me wash my hands and show you what to do with it. Now we're going to set this to the side. Let me set it over here. And you're going to get your pans. Now you can use small pans if it's just 2 of you, and then put the others in the freezer in a Ziploc bag. Or you can use one big pan for the same recipe. So the next thing we're going to do is going to get out some spray. And I like to coat mine really good with spray because I don't like it sticking to my pans. And I'm going to make sure I get all the edges really good. If you don't get the edges good, you get burnt stuff on there. It's going to get on the side of your pans and makes your pans look nasty. Now we're going to set these to the side right here, the ones we're not using. And we're going to wipe off our table because we got the butter spray on there. And that's how well you want to spray this. Now I will wash my counter off here in a few minutes, but for now this will do. And then we are going to take and put our meatloaf in. So now what you want to do, if you're putting it in small pans, you just want to take and divide this into 4 sections, and you want to kind of roll it in your hand and then drop it down in your pan. Now that looks like it's not enough. So we'll go a little bit bigger this time. We usually have 1 small loaf and several big loaves. So let's pull these over here. And I just like to do mine like this. When you're cooking for 2 people, this is a good way to do it, because now this is gonna, you want to leave room on there for your barbecue sauce or ketchup that you put on the top after it bakes for a little while. Now you want to try to have the same amount in each pan, because if you don't, and you cook this pan with that pan, this one's going to cook faster. So you want to have them, I may only end up needing 3 pans this time. We'll see. But if you cook 1 pan at a time, and I just kind of throw it down in there after I get it going. And I like to take mine and go along the edges like this. Get that meat back down in there. Yeah, I got my finger in there that has the Band-Aid on it. Okay, I like to go around the edges like this so that if any grease does come up from this. Now when I make my own hamburger, I don't have a problem with grease coming up. Now those 2, that's the size That's the way you want your pans to look. You cook both of these together. Now, this pan right here is a little on the shy side. So let's see what we got left in our bowl here. You're just going to take and get it all together. If I was cooking for somebody, I'd wear a glove on this hand, but it's just me and my husband, and I'm not worried about it. It'd be all right. Now, we're going to take that and get it in there, push it down. Now, when I usually cook a pan of this at a time, but if I needed to cook 2 pans of this, it would already, I would cook these 2 pans together. But while we're waiting, let's make our meatloaf mix for the next time, so that we're not sitting here having to drag out all of these jars every time, and then we'll store it in our cabinet back here behind us. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I'm not even going to measure, I'm just going to take and put in, probably ought to get out my thing to measure with. Now I just washed all of this off. Let me get, alright, I don't know where it's at right now, but we're fixing to use up this, so we'll go ahead and bend the jar, or the container. We're going to fill those about 1/3 of the way up with oatmeal. Now, I'm going to have to get out some more oatmeal. So hang on a second. Boy, that meatloaf is cooking away, and it sure does smell good. I always keep oatmeal on hand because it's not only good to eat for you to eat, but it's also very good for you, very good for cooking and using as a filler, and it takes on the taste of whatever you're cooking. So we're going to take and fill our jars up about 1/3 of the way full. And if you get too much in your jar at this point, just take a little bit of it and put it back. Now you do want to make sure all your jars are clean. And so there we go, we got the oatmeal in. I'm going to set this to the side. And then the next thing we're going to do is, this is dehydrated peppers. And so I definitely got the seal on that one. So we're going to take and add bring this up to about halfway in the jar. If you get a little too much, just pull some out and put them in the next one. But you want it to be kind of halfway, at the halfway mark. I believe these jars are 1.5 cups. And this is going to get you about where you need to be. Now this jar does have a vacuum seal thing in there. I don't know if you can see it or not. But once I seal this back down, that's going to air tight, and you won't have this popping right here. And this will go back in my cabinet right here behind me. Now the next thing we're going to do is going to take out some garlic, and we're going to add about that much. About that much. 1, 2, 3. Just count it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, can't have enough garlic. The next thing we're going to do is add onion powder, and I do believe this one's a new one. So we're going to get that open, and we'll do the same thing. 1, 2, 3. Now this does not, and the garlic doesn't have any salt in it, so you don't have to worry about over salting it by doing it this way. So now what you do want to watch for is this, because it does, I do believe, yes, this has sodium in it. So the next thing we're going to do is going to add our minced onions to this. Now, you don't have to do it in this order. You could have done the minced onions after you did the peppers, but I always put my oats on the bottom. And if you don't have oats, you can do crackers. Now, I like to take and put about a handful in there. See, about a handful. Now, you don't want to make this all in one big jar, because what's going to happen if you do that is all your lightweight seasonings, like your garlic pepper or garlic powder and your onion powder, it's going to end up settling to the bottom. And when it does, then if you scoop out and use it, the problem is this is going to be at the bottom of the bottle. So I like to make these individually, and then I'm ready for the meatloaf next time, so that I don't have to sit there and just add all this stuff. I can just dump this jar in there and I'm ready to go. And this is how you save time. Now, here we go. There's one and a piece of one. 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 Now this is for 2 pounds of meatloaf. Okay, each one of these is for 2 pounds of meatloaf. So you'd use this and one of these in a 2 pound. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these dry packs and I'm going to stick them down in here to keep this from, I'm going to put 2 in each one, because these are kind of old, so that this does not get moisture in it. Now, I use these pretty quickly. If you don't use yours really quick, then you need to use the little packs that look like this that take all the oxygen out. Now, I'll use these within the next month, so I'm not worried about it. Then you're going to want to make sure that this is dry, nothing's on there, close it up, and then you label it for whatever it is that you're making at the time. And this particular one is for meatloaf. And I like to use my used lids on these, because then that way if they won't seal on your other stuff. So now these are ready to go for our meatloaf the next time. So all we have to do is take one of these, drop some mustard, ketchup, and Worcestershire sauce in there, and 2 eggs, and we're ready to go. 3 eggs if it's not the right size. So anyway, that's all there is to say about that. And we'll wait for this meatloaf to finish. It sure is smelling good. And then we'll come back. Alright, here's our meatloaf. Already cooked. Now it's almost fully cooked, and it's got about 3 or 4 minutes left. Now what I like to do is this is what I normally top my meatloaf with, is Sweet Baby Ray's, and I just take and put it across the top. Now if you don't have Sweet Baby Ray's, you can use ketchup. I prefer Sweet Baby Ray's, but either works. And if I don't have this, I use ketchup. And you'll want to put it on there just like this, and then you want to stick it back in your oven, and we'll let that cook for the next 5 minutes until it's completed. Alright, now we've got our meatloaf out, and we are going to take this out of the pan, if I can get it out, and show you what it looks like around the edges and everything. And this is what it looks like. So now let's just slice into this. Let me get this pan and stuff out of the way. So now that we've got those out of the way, and I just lifted that out with 2 forks. And if you're using a bigger pan, you won't take this out, but for video purposes I am. And then you just take and slowly take you a knife and just slice right into that. And here's what it looks like. Now doesn't that look yummy? Now, hang on just a minute. It is very hot right now. So I'm going to slice 2 slices. And show you that it's still even cooked right there in the center of this one right here. So when you cook it in these little slices, it goes pretty quick, but if you have a big family to feed, that doesn't work. But if you have a small, it's just you and your husband, or you and your husband and a child, this works great. Now, I have to taste this and tell you, it is so good, because I already had a bite before I forgot I didn't turn the camera on. I hope y'all like this recipe, and I hope you'll try it. If you're new to our channel, hit that like button, give us that big thumbs up, hit that notification bell so you get notified when we have new videos coming out. And subscribe if you're not subscribed. It's free, we don't charge you, and it really helps our channel out. If you like these things that I've made, keep watching, because we got more. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope to see you real soon. Give us those 2 thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you real soon here at What the Tuckers.